Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
Hey y'all, it's your good sis Erica Bain back again with another amazing All-American video. And in this video, we are talking about season 1, episode 6. Let's get into it. Alright y'all, we are moving right along. We are 6 episodes into my breakdowns for season 1. If you missed any of my season 1 breakdowns, I'll have them linked in the cards above as well as the description box down below so that you can go back and check it out. Also, consider joining a membership and getting more exclusive members only content. Currently, this month, one of the premier members only videos that we have is the Olivia Sobriety Journey Part 1 video, which is now streaming and available for members only. If you are interested in checking that video out, it's almost an hour long where we do a deep dive into Olivia's sobriety journey, and I actually track from season 1 through season 2, bringing us up to season 3. What are the major moments where things are happening, things that you might have missed in the series, and things that we needed to pay attention to so that we could really understand how she arrived where she did in season 3. Again, that is currently available for members only, and if you want to check it out, then click the join button. If you're not ready to join the membership, that's perfectly fine, and you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Subscribing is free 99, honey, and I'm still coming with daily entertainment content and all-American videos that you can check out and are available to you. So even if you cannot join the membership, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, join the tribe, be sure to watch the videos and post the comments because there's tons of value whether you are a member or a subby right here on Erica Bain TV. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about episode 6, which opens up with them on the football field. And you know it's going to be a bomb episode. When they open the episode up and they on the football field, you know the episode finna be lit. Even though I think that all of the episodes of season 1 are actually lit, going back and rewatching this so that I could break this down has brought me so much joy. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for enjoying the breakdowns, and thank y'all for showing up for my content and, you know, showing me love or whatever, and being the reason why I'm looking for more ways to talk about All American and going back and rewatch it. Because at this point, I didn't rewatch season 1 quite a few times, but it still slaps every time I watch it. But anyway, we open up with Spencer on the field. He is making a great play. Olivia and Layla are in the stands watching. Child, and this is where we get a little seed of like Layla doubling back to like, okay, great. Spencer looks great today. You know, Spencer looks up at the stands and motions to like wonder where Coop is, and Olivia has to explain like that's what he's doing to Layla, and she's like, oh, she's missing it because he looks good today. And Olivia makes a comment of like, you trying to hook me up with Spencer is just OD or too much or whatever. And just going back and rewatching this is so cringy because it's like both of y'all have feelings for him, or Layla is developing feelings for him. Olivia already has feelings for him, and just watching this and knowing how it actually plays out, I'm just like, child, fix it, Jesus, fix it at this moment so that maybe we don't get to the point where we have all the dramatics that we have later on. But you know, it's a drama show, so we are already here. Sarah, Sarah. Now, we also get Mr. Keating show up with his little new young thing that makes Layla uncomfortable, and this is something that tracks throughout the episode. Layla is struggling with her dad and seeing this new romantic interest. We already know that Layla lost her mom 2 years ago, so it's been 2 years since her dad has, I guess, been with somebody, and this is the first woman that she's seen her dad with since her mom. So that's already something very, very hard to deal with. Like, that's completely understandable, and I can understand why Layla was tripping. And then not only that, but she's young. Like, this girl isn't that much older, like maybe 4 or 5 years older than Layla. What the hell are we doing here, Dad? So the whole thing is weird, and Mr. Keating doesn't really address it. He also doesn't really address his absenteeism, and in this episode we really get to learn more about Layla by way of how she actually handles the situation with her dad in China. Her dad, you know, comes from the hood, so we get the seeds of like, oh, him and Spencer are a lot more alike than we actually understood, which could make sense for how she's attracted to Spencer, because y'all, whether we want to agree or believe it or not, they say that girls are attracted to men who are like their fathers. So now, Spencer today is definitely not like Mr. Keating today, right? But, you know, Mr. Keating came from very, very humble beginnings. Mr. Keating now is a very wealthy music producer and label owner, and has changed quite a bit. But I think in this episode we get the seeds of like what he could have been, because, or what he used to be, because of how deeply he relates to Spencer almost immediately. Like we see the moment where they're at the hangout and Spencer's serving them, and Mr. Keating is paying more attention to Spencer than he is to Asher, which makes Asher feel away. We get to see the moments of like him asking Layla to talk to Spencer Spencer because they want to get China onto the like block party and they get to coordinate that. So we just get to see those seeds and those moments, and I think it's really, really cool. But I don't want to jump too far in the episode. I really enjoy what they did with Layla's storyline in this episode and how we were able to not only learn more about her, but learn more about the people that are important to her. And it really helped us understand why she makes the decisions that she makes, I think. In this episode, we also started to see the brewing rivalry between Malibu and Beverly Hills Child. And that little Malibu coach, I did not like him just off rip. Sir, keep it moving. Which also sets up for the backdrop to the storyline between Asher and Jordan. So Jordan is pissed about finding out that Asher slept with Olivia while she was high. Woo, yeah. So Jordan has that issue, so him and Asher aren't necessarily gelling. Asher doesn't know yet because Jordan doesn't reveal it initially, and they're just beefing. So Billy uses this as an opportunity to go and scout Malibu, see what they got going on, to prep for their game, but then also to force Jordan and Asher to actually talk it out and to figure out what is going on and why they aren't clicking anymore and why they're creating so much tension on the team. And I think it's good, like watching them in this way is good because we don't necessarily know much about Jordan and Asher at this point, aside from they tell us that they're best friends, but all we've seen them do so far together is just try to come for Spencer, which if Spencer wasn't here, what does y'all friendship look like outside of that? And I think this episode and them actually struggling and overcoming this particular thing allows for us to see what their relationship actually looks like. And down in Crenshaw, Coop is settling in nicely at the barbershop with Alvin. Alvin is prepping for his block party. However, Sean is using this barbershop as part of a front for some of his business, which draws some of the enemy in. And we have a moment at the barbershop where we get to see the rival gang roll in and try to intimidate Coop, and she has to call for backup and have Sean show up there. So we get to see a little bit more grounding in what the stakes are. Up until this point, we haven't really gotten to see the real negative that comes along with being in a gang from Coop actually starting to run with Sean. But with this episode and with the scene in particular, we start to get the reminder of the clear and present danger of what gang life actually is. It's not just community, it's not just having support, it's not just, you and your homies look alike, dress alike, kick it together, whatever, but there's danger that comes with it as well. We also get the reveal in this episode that Sean has a daughter. Pop out moment, y'all. Sean is gone way too soon. I definitely wanted to see more from him. Oof. At the block party, we get to see so much. Coop brings Sean along to try to help him get out and get new opportunities to introduce him to Mr. Keating. That presents problems with Spencer because Spencer and Sean at this moment, especially in this season, are not on the same accord. They're not seeing eye to eye, and Spencer wants nothing to do with him. They just stopped, fighting every time they saw each other or jumping in each other's face. But the fact that Coop is now rolling with Sean still doesn't sit well with Spencer. But it's whatever. It is what it is. Spencer got to get with it because Coop is not going to walk away from Sean. And then also at the block party, we get the introduction of Olivia's potential new love interest with Chris. Chris is landing on thick, honey, okay? He comes over, he's applying pressure. He's calling her beautiful. He is listening to her. He is smiling. He is doing all of the things. And, we love to see it because I really do feel like Chris and Olivia could have been something magical if the writers would have went there, because the setup to me was very, very nice. And I thought they had great chemistry to start with. However, when I went back and rewatched this episode, because I made a video about if Olivia ever really wanted to date Chris, if you haven't already, go ahead and check that video out. It is on the channel right now. I'll link it in the cards above, the description box down below. We get to see the moment with Olivia seeing Layla and Spencer, and when I went back to rewatch it, it hit completely different because I do feel like she kind of threw herself into the thing with Chris after that happened, which kind of taints the relationship a little bit from the jump, because it was almost like this was a knee-jerk reaction versus her actually really being fully invested in Chris and over Spencer. Now, if she would have entered the relationship with Chris when she was over Spencer and just wanted to be with Chris, then they would have been set up a lot better, but that wasn't necessarily the case. And I talk about that more in the video, so check it out. Now back to the block party, because I do think that the whole Chris and Olivia thing was a positive of a lot of negative and drama that happened. So being inspired by the block party, Sean decides that he's going to go move the money from rivalries and separate that. But before he's able to, he is confronted by the rival gang and gunshots ring out. So a shooting happens, someone loses their life, and Sean is nowhere to be found after the fact. And Coop is like, yo, I gotta go find him. I gotta make sure that he's okay. This makes Spencer and Coop go at it again. And Coop makes a decision of like, I gotta show up and I gotta be there for Sean, which ultimately hurts Spencer. But she does make a lot of valid points. Like, she's like, yo, he needs help. Especially now that she knows that he has a daughter. She's like, yo, I gotta show up for him. I've been there for you. You don't need me now. Like, you have all of these other people in your village to support you. He has nobody. I have nobody. And it ultimately winds up that Coop moves out because, you know, people are shooting at them now. She's a part of this group that's now have a target on their back. And then she decides like, yeah, it's not safe for me to be with y'all anymore, you know, with Miss Grace and Dylan in the house. So I'll go ahead and move. And we kind of get left on a like, oh, what's going to happen with them and their friendship, because they definitely have a volatile conversation that it just kind of like ends when Coop walks off. And also, there's so much stuff that happens at this dang on block party. Layla confronts China, and then ultimately that leads to her having to confront her dad around the ring that she found at the studio and how seriously he's taken China and all of that. I think that this was really great in just Layla's character development, because it showed us what she's willing to do and that she's not just a little sweet rich girl from Beverly Hills, but she has a little bit of bark to her bite and she's not afraid to actually say what she gotta say, especially when she's deeply affected emotionally by something. So I thought that was really, really cool to see. Now, before Layla actually has the conversation with her dad, we see her back at the hangout with Spencer and they're talking. And the conversation that she has, she's able to get to a better understanding of him, see that he is still hurting, he still does miss her mom, and that ring was actually for her. And this just heightens her emotions. You can see it. Like, Layla looks like she's on the brink of breaking in this conversation. It's, oh my god, shout out to Greta. She did such a beautiful job in the scene. And y'all, this was just a perfect setup for what we get next. So when she comes back in and she starts to talk to Spencer, they have a very sentimental and emotional moment that ultimately leads to a kiss. And honestly, all roads have been pointing to this from the beginning. They have, in this short amount of time, in the first 6 episodes, we have seen both Layla and Spencer show up for each other emotionally and mentally. And in this moment, he's the perfect person to be there for her to get this win with her dad and to get to a better place. And she leans in and kisses him. And then, of course, Spencer has wanted Layla from the beginning. So after that happens, he leans in and goes for it too. And it is what it is. That's all she wrote. Unfortunately, I guess this Olivia was sitting outside and was able to see the whole thing and is distraught, to say the least. All right, y'all, that is my episode 6 breakdown. This was such an emotional episode, but such a good one. Are y'all rewatching season 1 now that it's on? Well, it's been on Netflix, but season 3 premiered about a month ago on Netflix. They are starting the production for season 4 now as I'm recording this. This is August 14th that I'm actually recording this on. So they are in production now. Season 4 will premiere on October 25th, 2021. Cannot wait. We got a couple of months in between time. But I'm really excited for the stories that they're going to tell in season 4. If you're new here, American Vein, and I post new All-American videos every day, sometimes twice a day, you should really join the tribe by hitting subscribe. I think you're going to love it here. As you can tell, I talk all things All-American, deep dive, talk about characters, do episode breakdowns, and more. And if that's something that you're into or want to learn more about, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. I will have my season 3 playlist link for you on screen, as well as my season 1 playlist, because we're rolling out new videos breaking down season 1 right now. Again, if you've missed it and you are not a part of the rewatches, we are currently rewatching season 3 on Saturdays. And if you want more information of how to get into that, it's completely free to come kick it live or rewatch with me and a couple of other subbies. It'll be in a link in the description box down below. Hit that like button because you made it to the end of the video and I know that you liked it. I am going to see you in my next amazing All-American video. Bye!